Trump administration has filed a lawsuit, a broadside attack on all of the judges of the District of Maryland. All federal judges have now been sued, including the chief judge. The allegations in the complaint are that there is a standing order, administrative order, put in place by the chief judge in order to ensure and preserve the jurisdiction of federal courts before the Trump administration, as they have done dozens and dozens and hundreds of times, takes those people away from federal court jurisdiction and puts them in foreign countries. And the standing order says effectively that if a alien, a migrant, files, after hours particularly, a writ of habeas corpus petition to be heard by a federal judge about their liberty, about their status, that at least for 2 business days, that person will remain, and the Trump administration is blocked from transferring them, not within the continental United States, outside the continental United States, putting them outside of the jurisdiction of federal courts. It's a way for the federal court to temporarily, like an administrative stay, to preserve its jurisdiction until it holds the hearing and figures things out. Trump administration doesn't like that. Trump administration wants to move these human beings around in the middle of the night from Maryland to Texas, get them out of free-thinking states, get them over to red states to get better judges and play the shell game with human beings. So now they have sued all of the judges of Maryland, including Judge Zinnes, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit, who hears that kind of case. If you're suing all the judges, what judge actually hears the matter? I'm going to break it down for you right here on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. I'm Michael Popok. All right, here we go. So there was a little covered administrative order that effectively creates a stay temporarily for 48 hours. And what's the basis of it? The basis of it is that we have seen, and all the federal judges have seen, including up to the United States Supreme Court, that Donald Trump will move people from state to state in the middle of the night. He did it. He did it with all the people, all the graduate students he picked up in New York. He'll move them out of the country to third-party countries like El Salvador and other places, where he will then say they are outside the jurisdiction of the federal courts. That is Donald Trump's number one argument. These people can't be heard from. We moved them. We might have done it illegally, but now they're in a foreign country. And the federal courts, led by the chief judge in Maryland, made a decision that at least for the first 48 hours, this person's not going anywhere. He can be moved, or she can be moved within the continental United States, but can't be moved away and outside the powers and try to get away purposely from the jurisdiction of the federal court. Here's what the standing order that we're talking about says. This is on paragraph 34 of the lawsuit. Upon the filing of a petition for writ of habeas corpus on behalf of an alien detainee, the government are enjoined and restrained from removing petitioners in such cases from the continental United States or altering their legal status, provided that petitioner's full name and alien number have been provided to the court, either in the petition or in a separate filing. The standing order provides its terms shall remain in effect until 4 p.m. on the second business day following the filing of the petition, unless now extended by a judge assigned to the case. Donald Trump then goes off on a whole set of prejudices. He says his immigration policy will suffer because he can't move these people out of the country and away from federal jurisdiction. They tried to argue in their complaint that this is effectively an injunction, not an administrative stay, even though I would argue that it is, even though it says enjoined and restrained, I get the language, but that it's really it's a perfect example of an administrative stay being issued by a judge to temporarily hold the ring, to give them time in order to determine whether they have jurisdiction. It's hard to do it if the person was already in El Salvador, so to speak. And Maryland has a lot of experience with this because they are the jurisdiction with Judge Zinnes that has been dealing with the Armando Abrego Garcia, the Kilmer Abrego case, where he was sent over a objection, over an order of a immigration judge to El Salvador without due process, in violation of his rights and illegal under an order. and then stayed in El Salvador for 2 months with Donald Trump telling the world he'll never bring him back, that the courts don't have jurisdiction over him, even though the Supreme Court said that they did, 9-0, and then finally brought him back, like 3 weeks ago to stand charges for some indictment in Tennessee. So that is Judge Zinnes, and she is currently considering whether to find the Trump administration in contempt and the Department of Justice in contempt. And we now have a whistleblower, 28-page letter, single-spaced, Erez Ruveni, who used to work for the Department of Justice, the ultimate insider in immigration litigation, who details how he was instructed to lie to federal judges, including Judge Zinnes, and that the administration has been lying and telling a federal court judge to go F off. Those are the words of Emil Bove, a number 3 lawyer in the Department of Justice, Donald Trump's former criminal defense lawyer, who's sitting today in a series of confirmation hearings about whether he should have a lifetime appointment on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. So let's just say Maryland has a lot of experience with Donald Trump trying to take human beings, kidnap them, hijack them, and send them off outside of federal jurisdiction. And so ultimately, I do not see this administrative stay order as being violative of constitutional principles or a certain case we call NIKEN, N-I-K-E-N, or NIKEN, which is the factors for an injunction, because it's temporary in nature, it's an administrative stay only, and there's no irreparable harm suffered by the Trump administration. Now, who hears a case where he has sued each and every one of the federal judges in Maryland, including the chief judge? Well, there's a rule for that. It effectively says under 28 U.S.C. Section 292 of the United States Code that a out-of-district judge will be picked by the chief judge of the appellate court in which this court sits. So it sits in the Fourth Circuit. The chief judge of the Fourth Circuit then looks at judges within the Fourth Circuit, but not in Maryland, such as in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, or West Virginia, picks a judge there, which already is an advantage to Donald Trump because those judges are going to be more purple and more red, so to speak, than the Maryland federal judges. And a judge there has to hear this matter. This should be thrown out almost immediately. But here, another example where now the federal judges have to retain a lawyer, a law firm, to represent them who's not in the Department of Justice. Some other independent law firm is now going to have to be hired to represent their interests before another judge picked by the chief judge of the Fourth Circuit that probably sits someplace like North Carolina or West Virginia to hear this matter. It's just another example of the Trump administration's full-blown assault on the rule of law. And now they're suing judges. Why not? They put elected officials, they've indicted elected officials and arrested them. They've taken senators down to the ground and put them in handcuffs. They've arrested mayors, all Democrats. They've arrested judges. Hannah Dugan in Wisconsin, indicted, arrested, perp walked. This is yet another example of it. So we'll continue to follow it right here on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. Come over to the Legal AF YouTube channel, hit the free subscribe button. I'll be posting regular updates to this particular case when the judge is selected, when the first turn happens in the proceedings. Come here on Legal AF and the MeidasTouch Network to learn more about it. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.